All right, we're ready to get started. Hi. Welcome to the August 2024 meeting of the Community Board 2 Manhattan Cannabis Licensing Committee. Present today are myself, Chair of the Committee, Mark Fitzgerald, Vice Chair Patricia Laria, Zachary Pizzazz, and Anthony Wong, committee members. Also in the room is our District Manager, Mark Diller, and we are joined by Kate Ruby and Victor Creasy for the applicant. We have one agenda item tonight. It is 748 LLC, DBA Dazed, Richard Rainone et al. And that's about it, I guess. Should I go over everything or should we want here? It's an application for a conditional adult use retail dispensary to be located at 112 Mulberry Street, 10013 in Little Italy or Chinatown, depending on who you ask. It is between Hester and, is that right?
Yeah.
Hester
Yes.
now. And hours are 8 to 12.
Those are proposed.
Proposed hours are 8 to 12. Again, this is a card, which is a social equity license. There are actually two justice involved applicants on this application, one at 30%, one at 21%, making up a mandatory 51% ownership for social justice involved individuals on a card license. Additional owners are Christopher Variello and Richard Rainone at 24.5% respectively. As we discussed in committee, the owners also own, well, per the questionnaire, two other dispensaries, one in New York City at 33 Union Square West, and the other in Holyoke, Massachusetts, but there's another one in Munson.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a third one. That wasn't on here.
Yeah, I just didn't have the address for the
On the website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You guys, please come to the table. Sorry.
you know, they have two licenses on this. I just didn't have the address readily available.
Mark, can I ask just a clarification?
Yeah.
Which of the owners own the Dazed? All four of them or some
No.
subsets?
So there's a subset. So Keyshawn Warner owns Dazed, Rich Rainone, and Christopher Vianello.
And is that the same ownership for the other two dispensaries?
I cannot speak to the composition of the ownership in Massachusetts.
Okay.
They have another consultant in Massachusetts.
You said Christopher and Keyshawn?
Chris, Keyshawn, and Rich both are all interested in the dispensaries in Massachusetts, to my knowledge.
Okay,
All I know is that there is a company called Dazed that they own in Massachusetts that is the same brand.
okay.
I can't speak to what the composition of the ownership there is.
Sorry, and just the ownership of the Dazed in Union Square?
Yes. So that's 60% Keyshawn,
Okay,
and then I believe 2020.
okay, thank you.
So there was the CPI rules. Has full control of this. Sean has full control of Union Square.
Thanks.
That's the key difference.
All right. So we're back here. So three of the owners on this application are also owners of Dazed Union Square.
Yes, but the key difference being that Victor has 30% and sole control of this license, and Keyshawn has I believe 60% and sole control of Union Square. So he's only 21% here. Victor is 30% with sole control.
All right. Everything else is pretty standard operationally. The building, the proposed premises is a mixed use commercial residential building with 16 residential units and 2 commercial ground floor spaces, partial basement use. What is the rest of the basement used for?
We'll have to ask Chris Bino about that. He's not here. I'm not quite sure.
Use the basement for.
For storage. So the
There's other access to that.
well, no, we will do, let me put it this way, excuse me. Whatever the space, I'm not quite sure what the basement looks like. This is all built out. So to your point, Mark, we are going to be building out this space in compliance with the regulation. So if the basement does have other access, then no, there will not be cannabis stored down there. Cannabis will then, we will have to build a back of the house, separate it with a partition so that it is in compliance with the regulations. Nothing that any other resident, or be it a resident or the other commercial space, because as noted, there's one other commercial space and 16 residential units. Any space where anybody else can access it, cannabis products will not be stored in compliance with the regulations. So if there is a basement, it'll probably just be used for office space or a break room.
So you are planning to do bicycle delivery? Where are?
No. There's, as I indicated, we're leaving it open. If they want to do delivery, at some point, it will likely be on foot or bicycle. Our delivery plan allows for both.
So where will these bicycles and delivery personnel?
So if they are, if they do delivery, which of course for the Union Square location, in all honesty, the reason why Union Square does not have delivery is because of this issue, because they have a delivery plan on file, much like this delivery plan. I made a delivery plan on file so that if they want it, they can do it. If they want to store them, maybe the bikes will be stored downstairs because it's not a security risk per se to the cannabis products. They wouldn't have any cannabis products in them. Potentially, I can't say. Otherwise, they'll have to be stored at a central warehouse location that's approved by the OCM.
Let's go.
You may want to sit at the table.
Yeah, we're joined by Keyshawn Warner, who is also one of the applicants. Hi, Keyshawn, I'm Mar, Tricia, Anthony, Zach, we are the committee members. Okay, so, we asked on the questionnaire if you have association with a card license, but even though Richard is the one person that was named in the notice form, it just says card applicant. And
What do you mean?
so it may be the fault of the way the question was asked.
Oh, were we supposed to, yeah, because I didn't say, because the licensee, when you click licensee, it like puts a whole menu as if they're not a provisional
Yeah.
licensee. That's why I put applicant, because they're not a full license, they're not a final license.
Well, some of them are.
Yeah, but he's
These
not,
are they.
he's not, yeah.
Right, so I'll take the L on that one. That was, really, I think, confusion about the question, how the question is asked. The point of the question is really to understand the association.
Okay.
Right, so we have 3 card licensees, and now we have 3 card licensees applying with a 4th.
Oh, no, oh, sorry, no.
Or
There's-
applicant.
There's only 2, so there's Florissant, that's Union Square. Rich does not have a license. Rich is not a card applicant. Rich is just the operating partner. He's just an owner. For the Vic is the justice involved individual on this license. There's only 2. Union
But their
Square and
names
this.
are all on a card license or no?
No, Vic's, no, so they are on
The 3,
Union Square.
and
Right.
that is a card license. Union Square, Dazed Union Square was opened as a card
Right, correct.
dispensary, yes?
Right, with Keyshawn, with the individual as sole control.
Sole control, but also owned by the other 2.
Yeah,
Yes.
So all 3 are on that card license. Is that incorrect?
no, that's correct.
And so now we have 3 individuals with ownership interest in a card
Right.
license applying with
Yes, yeah.
an applicant for another card license.
Well, they're on the license application, yeah.
Yes,
So we've amended the ownership with the OCM for this entity.
Okay.
Right, so the operating agreement for 748 LLC is the entity that applied. Since they applied, the operating agreement for 748 has been amended to include these 3 additional individuals.
all right. And you are not licensed yet.
No.
It is still an application is pending. You do enjoy proximity protections. However, by my calculations, I don't know if OCM has gone out and done their measurements yet. They don't. I have a guy. You are looking, to me, within 1,000 feet of the pending application at 10 to 14 Doyer Street.
Okay, but we have proximity protection
Every
right now.
day.
Okay, well, it's just a matter of,
So that's something to take up with the OCM, but also something we will take into consideration. It's not our community board, but it is something that we have to think about in doing our due diligence.
do we know what date they received proximity protection? Because we received ours on June 25th and the date does matter. So we received ours on June 25th. If they received theirs after ours, we enjoy priority and we are in the process of going through the finalization process. So it does not quite matter whether or not we beat them or they beat us. Our proximity protection was granted on June 25th.
Thing. It's Just Buds LLC. The date is not on the map.
Right, because the map is updated bi-weekly, and the map, if you look at the proximity protection guidance, it even says do not rely on the map.
But I do know that they were approved by Community Board 3 back in like December 2023. So but they haven't opened yet, so we don't know. I didn't ask. Something to think about, I guess.
The OCM should think about that before they grant two people proximity protection, because that sounds like grounds for a lawsuit.
But that's not the first time. it's
Yeah,
happened.
exactly.
Not the first time. All right, so those questions that were bypassed regarding card were, okay, we already have all the information on when the first days in New York was licensed, who the qualifying owner was, we could find their card number, the business entity, I looked all this up, we have all of that. If you were granted a card license or have operational financial interest in a card license, are you applying under the same license for corporate entity? No, would be the answer to that. If you're granted a card license, are you the qualifying individual with controlling interest in that business? Yes and no, new, yeah, both.
Mhm.
If you're granted, have you submitted a notification to municipality to any other municipality in New York State in relation to the card license? Yes, CB5.
Mhm.
Are there any others?
So initially, we were gonna locate this in Ulster before the regional assignment. Well, there was an issue with regional assignment that was in December, so we have since withdrawn that notification.
Okay. Yeah, I actually emailed them for the minutes in that meeting.
Yeah.
Because you were supposed to see them in July, I think.
Well,
They're on the
we-
top of July.
yeah, we withdrew it before.
Okay.
Now I don't
Submitting
get out.
notification
I know.
Alex and Sally understand, religion enough. You already did that. Name of representative, that's Kate. Business address. Your address is listed as a UPS store, is that correct?
I've had that same address for like 25 years, so I just leave it there. It's my DOB address and billing and banking.
Do you live in New York?
I have a house in Long Beach and an apartment.
Okay. Let's see, property owner, you have a conditional lease? Dependent on whether you get the license or not.
Yeah.
I didn't read it, I'm gonna be honest.
Well, no, yeah, it's dependent on whether the license is.
All right, so it's conditional lease, we've seen those before. Let's see. So sidewalks, stewardship, does any individual, group, or entity with financial or operational interest in your business have a connection with Community District 2? Owner, management, leasing, realtor, who, how?
The management is a landlord in this.
Oh, the building manager.
Yeah.
And so they have a financial interest in that they're collecting rent?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, there's no like kind of rev share rental?
No, they don't have an interest in the dispensary at all.
Like that? Okay, and the Realtor in that they
Wait,
got
hold on, what, excuse me, what was,
owner, management, leasing, Realtor.
what was the question again?
Question was, does any individual, group, or entity with financial or operational interest in your business have a connection to CB2?
Oh, no, sorry, that should be no.
Okay, done. And sidewalk stewardship. None too minimal, if necessary, stanchions and security personnel may be used. Have you done a walkthrough of the space, of the location of the block?
Christina, one of our other partners has.
So I've been over there. Talked to people on the block, looked at the space, chatted with some of the neighbors, the residential neighbors in the building. It's a pretty busy block. You're just off the really hot part of Little Italy, but during San Gennaro and on the weekends, you can't walk down that block. So if you were to put stanchions and ropes up there, it would be a disaster.
Keyshawn, why don't you talk about what y'all do in Union Square when it's real, what do y'all do in Union Square when it gets real busy?
So I was just listening to what you were saying as far as like the space from the sidewalk to the storefront. We don't have stanchions out there permanently, but every so often we have an event like we have like someone noteworthy come by to meet the customers and hang out to create crowd control so that we can make sure that the people who are coming for this event are not impeding with residents coming in and out of their front doors and the normal sidewalk traffic. The stanchions are put there so that way we can create a visible separation from our customers coming to the event and the free walking and free flow of traffic. So that's normally what's meant by the stanchions. It's not something that's out there permanently because that can create a visual hazard, especially during the time of high traffic, high foot traffic. You know, Little Italy areas like small streets, sidewalks, and stuff like that. So we wouldn't put a permanent stand. That was just crazy. But in the time that we're anticipating having a large crowd because of an event or a noteworthy personality, we do that to help with crowd control and ease the free flow of traffic and to make sure that residents are not impeding getting out of their building.
If I could just make a comment to that, thanks for sharing that the sidewalk width in Union Square in combination with closed streets right in front of it is quite a different dynamic than where we're talking about in Mulberry Street. I mean, I do not have the exact numbers, but I'd estimate maybe the sidewalk is a quarter as wide on Mulberry Street as it is in Union Square West. Not to mention 2 of those streets are permanently closed. So I'm just flagging that I would have concern about any type of temporary stanchion.
Yeah, so when I put may, the reason why we use the word may instead of will is so that they have situational. So we don't have to use stanchions. We thought that you would want to hear that they had a method of crowd control, to be honest with you. If you would prefer, like, whatever the situation demands is what, we are open to discussing.
Partitioning the front door.
And whatever the neighborhood, whatever people typically do and whatever,
It's
is.
all situational. There's obviously businesses that have been operating there ongoing who have to deal with the same amount of traffic and they find methods of, traffic control on their own. So being new to the environment, we would look and see what's already being done and mimic as best as possible. But like I said, it's all situational. Like taking to the fact that Union Square sidewalks is much wider. That provides us more space, but even still, it's New York. So you can have a whole bunch of people and the wide sidewalk will still feel like a small sidewalk. And what do you do? How do you control the crowd? And so that's the method that works at Union Square. We will have to figure out what will work in that area.
Let's talk about Dazed Union Square for a while. So Dazed, you guys are building a national brand, right? And you have a very specific brand. You've got that pink, you've got that, the font monotone, right? It's so distinctive, it's so bright. You do lots of events, you have a lot of notable people, a lot of rappers, DJs, you do a lot of parties. You do liquor sponsorships, you have bar setups in the store. I don't know that open liquor in a dispensary is state compliant. I have asked the OCM. I was on that meeting when you went to CB5, which now feels like a million years ago, with Kaylin and Kate. I remember that meeting well. initially you had a bench or seating outside for your security. That was a bone of contention for Community Board 5 and for the community. You also, and I know it was a Dazed site, I know they picked it for you. I know y'all didn't know you were not even 100 feet from a playground and a few feet from Clinton High School and a drug treatment facility, a harm reduction facility. And that really the location, while great for running a dispensary, maybe not the best for the community and the families in the community. But again, the state gave it to you, so I'm not gonna, hate on that. But you did make a lot of promises. You did remove the seating, but consequently, you produced many activations on that sidewalk. Many. There's a cafe set up, there was bong making with like this huge machine. There are BMX activations out there, people riding bikes all over the sidewalk, which is totally illegal in the city. I mean, I've combed through all of your social media, all your tags, everything. Everything you promised the community board to keep it quiet, keep operations confined to the interior of the store, you have not done. You made promises, you haven't kept them. This block on Mulberry Street cannot handle that. If it's this same, and I watched Richard's videos about how you guys are doing your branding and philosophy behind the business, that is every day's a party, he said. Every day's a party at Dazed. This is how you guys operate. I don't think you're gonna come to Mulberry Street and be like, you know what? We need to just be chill and quiet and be a regular retail store. With no DJs, no loud music. I was in a store right before I left for Europe 3 weeks ago. Staff is beautiful, they're so nice. All those kids, store looks gorgeous, but it's loud, loud, loud. It is perhaps not suited for this location. 1,000 square feet. If you can't use the basement.
Let me use a great example for that. So the travel agency in Union, have you been to the one in Union Square and have you been to the one on Fifth Avenue? They're markedly different.
Yes,
There's also one in Brooklyn. Right, there's also one in Brooklyn. If you go to all three locations, they're all the same brand, but they're unique to those communities and they're unique to the settings in which they operate. The Union Square Travel Agency is not the same as the one on Fifth Avenue, nor is it the same in the one in Brooklyn. And I believe that these operators will act responsibly as they have done in Massachusetts. They are, by the way, the only Dazed store that is paying the loan back in full, above and beyond. They are the only ones that are paying their suppliers on time. So they are responsible operators. Let's not confuse them with some of the more irresponsible folks in this industry, together with the illicit operators. And we know that that's not a good barometer to go against. But all I will say is that we have seen other brands operate differently in different spaces and tailor their experiences towards the community.
First of all, I would not characterize Dazed fund sites that are struggling and unable to pay their loans as irresponsible. I would not characterize them that way. A lot of people are not as lucky in their location or as well resourced as some of the other social equity applicants. And so I personally take offense to that because so many people are struggling. I'm not going to begrudge anybody's ability to make money. That's awesome. That was the whole point, right? But we're not going to say that somebody who can't because they inadvertently entered into what we all know now to be a predatory
Exactly,
deal.
exactly. 15% interest rates, right? So let's not blame it on my use of words. I apologize. Okay,
Yeah,
I apologize. So let's not get into a personal discussion about the fund right now. Thank you, Mark.
so, yes.
In looking at your application about community engagement and outreach, you had TBD. Community board values quality of life. The location at 112 Mulberry Street is a mixed-use building with 16 residential units and 2 commercial ground floor storefronts. There was no community engagement of any kind. Did you?
So the OCM recently gave us, so just so that we're clear, so this license we originally intended to put in Ulster. We did not get proximity protection until June. So, and we did not know that we were coming before the community board for this until a week or two ago. So that is really why we haven't begun the community engagement, because of the OCM not granting proximity protection for this location, until very recently.
My ex-wife was on CB5 for 14 years, and I would try to be as compliant as possible.
So Victor, what made you want to get into cannabis?
I'm intrigued by it. I think it's nice. I think it's science. I think it's changing every year. Seeds, the strains, and intrigued also by genetics. I just came from Amsterdam just to look at the seeds. And, yeah, there you go. So, yeah, there you go. You must have been on the same flight. So cannabis has always been intriguing to me. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do alcohol. I haven't drank alcohol since I was 16. I don't take pills. I don't do anything. I'm a vegan. I don't even eat meat. And I'm strict. I don't eat soy. And I just enjoy cannabis.
That's fair. And so you're just a lover of the plant.
Yeah, I mean,
And why retail instead of cultivation? If you're interested in the genetics.
honestly, this is a great time for me to get into the retail. I have a legacy brand. It's been operating 22 years, and I would like to get on with moving forward with the
You
white.
have a legacy brand that's been operating for 22 years in New York?
Yeah. That's why they gave me a license.
But did you cease operations?
Of course. Of course.
So let's talk about VGT NYC.
It's a brand.
That appears to be operational today. Is it licensed?
I don't deal with them I don't have that brand. That company's been out of my hands for years.
You're still listed as the owner in many places on,
Not me.
no?
Not this Vic.
Not this week.
Not this Vic.
Okay.
Must be another Vic.
Another Vic
I mean,
with your same, a Vic took over your old business?
I don't know. I've been out of the business for a while since the pagers. I don't operate online. I had pagers years ago. The pagers don't work anymore. I don't work anymore. That's it.
So when were the 22 years?
I got arrested in 91. That's how I got this license. So I guess some 91, 92.
As far as you know, that VGT NYC is no longer operational?
No longer operational. I have no income from them.
Are you the one that started the food drive that they do?
What food drive?
Because the logo for VGT NYC uses the same font and colors as the Dazed logo.
I have no
This is
idea.
so
Like I said,
interesting.
I haven't been in that business. My logo didn't look like that. And in fact, it was VGT. It wasn't VGT NYC. My old company was Vic Green's team. Okay. And VGT NYC is not my company.
I actually have a question about the square footage. I guess I'm just a little surprised that, given the square footage is pretty small and you're not sure if you can use the basement for storage yet. And we're also not sure how the entry would work, given, constraining lines outside. Like that could effectively squeeze your retail space to something like 400 or 500 square feet.
Yeah,
I
have you been
worry
to
about that.
Dagmar? I was just there 2 nights ago. Dagmar right in Soho. It's very, very small. It's like literally like half of this room. The front of the house is half of this.
Are you guys able to do a mezzanine as well?
I'm not a contractor, ma'am. Do I look like one? I'm sorry.
I think
I mean, we
this,
worked with Jennifer,
Yeah.
help her to get it open. We approved her. We love Dagmar. But again,
The thing is, this is the great thing is, so just so y'all know, I work with a ton of other non-DASNY stores. So I actually work with people on their floor plans to build them out in a compliant way. So the benefit is we're not using DASNY. This is all funded. So we're going to do whatever needs to be done within that space to make it compliant within the regulations. So in one way that we're not relying on DASNY, they can basically, as long as it's in compliance with the DOB and whatever other applicable rules and regulations, that is what is going to be done here.
I see the store selling out, like you were saying, being short and having the doors closed for a majority of time until it gets to reload, especially during busy days. I don't see the store holding a full inventory, being able to supply a street full of people all day long. So I would imagine it's gonna sell out, doors closed, and then we figure out what we're gonna do, how we can get more inventory.
The other thing I was curious about was actually just on the hours, which is, and I heard that you didn't have a ton of warning in advance of coming to this, but how do those hours match up with the other retail and businesses that are on the street, on the block? Because 8 a.m. to midnight seems, I know it's a May,
Oh,
but
no,
that seems.
so I just put that
quite expensive.
on the application because they don't know what their hours of operation are gonna be until they kind of feel out the community. That's just on there as a placeholder.
Okay.
So I don't know if y'all have any recommendations for that block, but we're open to listening to that.
I mean, I'd just be curious when around, and I don't know this offhand, but when the restaurants in Nolita, like around the area, the restaurants and bars like tend to close. It's obviously not a place where people are out till 6 in the morning,
No. And
right?
they can stay open till 2 technically, but I'm sure that, yeah, I don't.
What'd you say?
11 to 12.
11 to 12?
I just don't see the store being able to accommodate a full street load of people. I think that we're gonna sell out and that's the day. We keep the door shut and we did our best.
How many kids go to PS 130?
So there's a school, one of our district schools, one of our beloved district schools that we work with a lot. Soto, it is primarily attended by kids from Chinatown. Many hundreds of them walk along Mulberry every day to get to and from school. You are under 300 feet from the nearest entrance to that building, which is on Hester Street. I walked it yesterday. I mean, it's literally not even.
Did you calculate it in accordance with the way that it's calculated?
I did it like, I am walking my kids to school, calculations in my heart.
Okay, but what, I just wanted to clarify that you're
No,
just saying,
it's compliant.
oh, it is
State compliant. State
Okay.
law road
that's
provision,
all.
that's fine.
Okay.
Suitability, quality of life, these are community board issues.
What other
So
streets do they also walk down other than?
They walk on Baxter and they walk on Mulberry to get there, and then they walk on Hester.
Okay.
So, and mostly coming from Chinatown, right, which is below. So they're crossing Canal, coming right by the dispensary, which we're, thinking of opening at 8 a.m. And I will tell you, as a parent in New York City, walk their kids, their nearby local public school every day for 7 years.
When does Union Square open?
That, the wake and bakes are a problem. That you don't want to walk your kid through a cloud of weed on the way to school every day, or when they're let out for lunch, or on the way home. So suitability is a concern, extremely close to the school.
It's a pre-K through 5 school and it's over 600 students.
And what's the percentage in poverty? I mean, I would call it a vulnerable population. So that's something.
Well, of course, the, as far as the compliance goes, none of the cannabis products are going to be visible from the exterior. None of the cannabis or cannabis products will be visible from the exterior.
There's a man trap too. When you go in, you have to show ID before you get through the second door. So there's really just merch in the front window with pillows. And I wouldn't even think rolling papers, just maybe some t-shirts and pillows.
Pink couch. Are you guys?
Right, but the
I
thing
don't
is,
think so.
a child isn't supposed to know, just like if they walk by any other dispensary, they're not supposed to be able to distinguish that from any other type of retail because it doesn't have any cannabis products. So every dispensary in the city that any child walks by is not supposed to be visible from the exterior. There's a reason for that, because it is the regulation dealing with attractive to individuals under the age of 21 years old. So this dispensary will comply with all of those regulations. And as far as the street, I know you raised concerns about some of the events. None of those events will be taking place during school hours or when kids are walking to or from school.
How are you gonna address the community engagement? You said that you had a little or no time, but somebody could have been outside collecting signatures or meeting neighbors.
I like to donate to the school Spring Fest. Usually I think we would be engaging, you know.
Did you even know the school was there?
Yes.
But you haven't been to the location yet?
No, but I know the city. My son went to PSS 116 and my daughter went to PS 116. So we've been all the other schools all around.
Yeah, and of course, the pattern of children walking to and from, of course, we didn't realize this was a main thoroughfare for them, but now that we do know that, special precaution will be taken.
Absolutely.
Oh, there's some,
That's why I needed to be, because I felt that people were asking questions. Can the applicant, Carter has asked, did you raise his hand? No, he's just giving in the chat. Carter Booth from CB2, member, can the applicant address how they will engage with a regular open street? Oh, thank you, Carter. We didn't know there was an open street there. Scheduled Thursday and Friday, 4:30 to 11:30, Saturday. See the whole thing.
Are we talking about a Mardi Gras fair event, like one of
No,
those?
it's an open street.
Like a city open street.
Okay.
Block off the
Cars
street.
go by, everybody can just walk freely.
Yeah, cannabis dispensaries are not allowed to participate in any of those sorts of things at the moment.
Yeah.
So the doors
When
remain shut.
someone, celebrity comes by and mixes with the customers, requiring operators to put out stanchions. Is that a street activity type event requiring safe overall? Yeah, Kishan, did you get any permits or
Yeah, we
apply for
give
permits
our-
for any of your street activities?
Yeah, we have,
Where?
the local police department, we gave them a list of events ahead of time so that they haven't to get out
What's
permits.
that, the 13th?
I'm not familiar with the event, appreciate
Oh.
it. But you can go, we have permits filed.
Do you ever bring this to the community board, their street activities?
Yeah, because if the street activity
So
for
it's-
CB5, it would be.
But it's not a street activity. All of our activities and events happen inside the store. The only thing that happens outside the store is with like an event in the store, you have a bunch of people. So what we do is we get the permit because we let the community know and the police department know that there's gonna be some activity, might be larger than normal. Or if we have an outside DJ, like during one of the, on the Saturday, we didn't only have the farmer's market. We had a jazz band come to play outside. We got a permit from the local police department from the times of 11 to 7.
But that's just for sound. Police department only gives sound. Carter, tell me.
Yeah, for the
if I'm
jazz
wrong.
But that was the event that was going on.
But you also have space on the sidewalk.
Permit covered over.
Okay. I would love to see those permits for your events.
The local police department has it.
So you didn't even get copies of your permits?
We got the first one, once we have a relationship with the community police officer. So they said, listen, come in, let us know the events and the dates. And then a day or two, come in and get the permit.
Is there a question or a raised hand?
it's in the chat. He didn't raise it. You didn't ask him to attend that question. but just typed it in the chat.
Okay. I don't know, I can see anything on that. All right. Pete Davies, community member. Oh, that was not Twitter, that was Pete.
was
He asked
Pete.
another question. Placement of stanchions on the sidewalk or control patron congestion. I don't know what that O is.
So let me clarify, that was just an example of what other dispensaries in other areas do. We are not in any way, shape or form held chained to stanchions. I use that as an example. We do not have any desire to put permanent stanchions on the sidewalk. Let me just clarify
Whatever works for
that.
the community.
But even temporary, and again, any street activity is gonna require SABO. Yes, from sound, you need to talk to the precinct. But because this is all we do, we have a committee for each of these things, it is required. So I am just asking, like, can those be produced for every event that you have?
Yeah,
Okay, because the problem is, right now, it looks like those events were happening without proper permits. Right now, it looks like those were events you told the community board, which is on tape, which I've shared the tape with the entire committee, where you said, we're not doing anything like that. All of our operations are going to be confined to the interior of the store. And then there are so many events on the street. There are so many events where so many people show up to watch rappers or drink or whatever people are doing, hanging out, having parties, that it feels like there were not permits and nobody was consulted. So that's just what it feels like right now.
It would have feels like, but we got permits.
We can certainly, right, we can assess after they provide some additional information, right?
I mean, yeah, we can. I'm just looking up your precinct.
I don't see this store being an event store, you know? Like,
Like, again, everything is
That's
based
such a
on,
departure from your branding.
it really isn't.
Well,
Our branding is based
can you
on.
consider not doing events at this Mulberry Street store except for maybe a grand opening and that's it?
I think that's pretty much it, yeah.
The point is, like,
Street fairs are gonna be plenty of people, plenty of rowdiness. I don't think we really need events in the space that big. It's not gonna work.
Well, just only a grand opening. That's
Yeah.
it. No events, keeping it small. Because
Yes, sir.
in terms of the storefront, you're taking over a gift shop or something? Is that the left one or the right? There's a big, long one and a short one.
I'm guessing the short one, if it's only 1,000 square feet.
This is gonna be small, yeah.
so here's the thing, again, our business, the way we base it is, we have a template, right? The colors, the pink couch, the brand, the logo. These are things like McDonald's, you know, what you will always see no matter which day's location you see. But when you get to the operations, everything is dependent on the neighborhood, the community. So my one store in Union Square is totally different from the store in Mulberry, Massachusetts. It's totally different from the store in Muncie, Massachusetts. So they have 3 different total locations. So being that we're coming into a new environment, we come in and try to assimilate to the environment. We're not trying to come and be like radicals and throw everything off. We're operating a business. So if we come in and we disrupt what we're doing in the neighborhood, we can't conduct business. You know Mulberry Street, and you guys are already used to having several events, the food events and stuff like that. So we wouldn't do anything that's going to be counterproductive to what's going on. We want to come in, be good stewards of our neighbors, and meet the residents that live there, as we have already been doing, and continue to move forward. If there's things that come into conflict, community have come to us and say, hey, listen, this is, you know, or they've come through the manager and say, hey, this has been an issue, address it. Sure, not a problem. We've addressed it and we move forward. That's normal communication in business and working in relationships. There's nothing any different outside of any normal business operation that we're doing. We're running a legitimate business.
As an operator and a license holder, I've been approached by 7 or 8 companies, a lot of people, and I can work with anybody. And the type of business that they've shown me, I've been to Holyoke, I've been to all their stores, and I've hung out with them. I'm impressed. They've come through, done everything they said they could do. I've been to a lot of other people's stores, and what I've seen, did not like. You know, the Flowery on Staten Island, NYC Bud. There's a lot of things I don't like that look too much like geared towards more than them in pink, and stealing other ideas like the Subway stuff, and like cookies, and like all these other knockoff kind of brands that they're stealing from. They have an original look, an original brand, and that's why I went with them.
You want to see if the other members of the public have any questions? We're in the room.
I do. Anyone online have any questions?
If someone has their hand raised. Who's that?
Carter.
Yeah, Carter.
Hey, guys. So I think all these questions are centered around the ecosystem that's Mulberry Street, which pretty much runs at full.
Hold on, Carter, we can't hear you very well. 1 second. Sorry.
Is that any better?
No, we're trying to turn it up.
That Mark.
Is that smart?
Right, yeah.
Talk, Carter.
Try talking.
Can you guys, is that better?
Yeah, Dinesh.
Okay, so the concerns here, you know, Mulberry Street as an ecosystem pretty much runs at full tilt in different ways at different times, but it's pretty much maxed out a lot of the times. And, you know, I'm just curious, and you know, Mulberry Street is closed a significant number of days out of the year. And it's open, you know, and people do place tables and chairs outside the restaurants, etc. And I'm just curious during San Gennaro, how you guys anticipate, because that's a huge event. First of all, have either of you guys been on Mulberry Street during San Gennaro?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know you can't move on
Yeah.
those nights, and you know that the space in front of your store will be rented out to somebody else on the street if you don't participate. So
Okay.
I'm just wondering what you're going to do, and you'll have 5 feet running behind the stall that's in front of your store if it's rented out. How do you guys plan on engaging or you know, activating your space during those 12 days, 14 days out of the year?
I think diagnosing Dazed's #1 sellers, the pre-rolls, whatever it might be, bring it to the store, and we produce what we can produce. And when we sell out, the doors close.
And how are you going to engage with the business that's in front of your store?
So that's-
if it's rented out to a food cart, or if it's rented out to one of the other concessions?
Well, that's a good question that we, you know, it's hard to answer right now, not actually being set up and having to, you know, think about that ahead of time. But, you know, just in thought right now, the best thing would be to figure out, you know, talk to the other restaurants who are out there already, who deal with this on an ongoing basis, and get an understanding from them what they do, what they deal with.
Well, they use the space, they rent it out and have tables and chairs out there.
So, right, so then that would be.
You're a different business because you can't do that.
Right. So, but here's the thing, regardless, it's going to be a lot of people out there. We know what we can and we can't do. Our store is there. So the amount of people that come and somebody posting, you know, setting up and bringing a table out front is not adverse to business. So again, it would just be more so understanding, you know, from the businesses that operate there yearly, and talking to them and the owners, hey, what do you deal with? What's going on? And then we can figure it out from there. But ultimately, you know, business-wise, it doesn't do us any harm, because just by default, by being there, you know, business will get business.
So
But
it sounds like you guys haven't scoped that out at all, because you could have the back of a food trailer running along the length of your business, or the back of some other concession. I mean, this is a big thing to understand, because that's a significant part of the fall business.
yeah, but again,
And it
so-
just sounds like you guys haven't figured that out. And it's the same with the open streets. You know, with this is a very different environment, and it's very unique to New York City. You talk about coming into the unique characteristics. This is a super unique block. This is the beginning of San Gennaro, where it goes up north all the way to Houston Street. And
Ninth inning.
That's
the ninth inning.
And then, you know, the engagement on top of that is, you know, people are hardly moving. And if you're becoming a destination during this event, it really throws in, you know, needing a game plan. And I bring that up also because, you know, walking by Dazed and Union Square, you guys have tables and chairs out in front of your store there. And
sometimes we do, but we don't. Because again, like I said earlier, when we discussed and we've had a conversation with the management who represents some of the community, they've discussed that they didn't know it wasn't the best thing for them, and we removed it. So you probably come during the time before those conversations. But again, you know, just it's business wise. You know, we operate within the framework of what we can and we can't do. So, you know, there's a set precedent on Mulberry Street. We have to learn how to operate within that precedent. And that's what we do. And that's about being agile. This is why we've had our business success up until this point. So whatever the framework we're allowed to do, we'll have a store there. But the amount of people who come to those festivals is ideal for business, because it's built in foot traffic that we didn't have to, go out and get.
Exactly. And to that point, also cannabis is very evolving at the state level. So last summer, for instance, there was something called Cannabis Growers Showcases, where you could attach a quote unquote licensed secure premises to an ancillary or associated event, or you could do it within your own facility. AUCPs, AUCCs, or cards could act as the licensed premises, with the card vendor acting as the thing. We may see the licensed premises for cannabis event language actually effectuated within the next year. We don't know what the OCM is going to do. They might have event permits, where as long as the audience, the projected audience, meets the proposed regulation in the PLMA, which right now it's 90% of the audience has to be expected to be 21 plus in order for you to advertise or even to co-locate for CGSs. The same thing applied. You had to have reliable evidence that the audience for that event was a 90% plus 21. Now the proposed regulation brings that number down to census data, which is like 74.9. Next year, we might be able to co-locate a cannabis event in a year or two from now with the San Gennaro Festival. Who knows? For the time being, in the interim, they will comply with whatever regulations are imposed. So if that means that they cannot be out on the street at all because there are children out there during San Gennaro, that is what they will do. If there's a vendor in front, as long as they're not blocking entrance to the store, I don't see why that would be a problem.
Well,
I know there's a few-
but I think you guys are misunderstanding that the street is managed by the Feast of San Gennaro. They're the renters of the space. So they actually are the ones who set up the entire, blocks between Canal and Houston. And they're the ones who actually rent the space.
I'm familiar with them. That's Frankie Barossa and Jake LaSalle and a few other people. I know who they are.
But my point
You're gonna let
is
the
that
CGS happen during San Gennaro.
We spoke about it.
Yeah.
I know them.
All right,
okay, well, it sounds like you guys don't have a plan and haven't anticipated that. And that's one of the major events citywide that occurs, and there's no plan. And I just find that hard to believe.
Let me ask you a question, though. What do you mean by plan? Because the main plan for me was just to have our doors open for business.
And let's be clear, the OCM,
Yeah.
we did not find out that the OCM gave us proximity protection because there was a miscommunication until mid-July.
Yeah, an extensive
So-
business plan.
So we're kind of coming into this, we're learning, we are open to suggestions from the community as well and what other businesses do. So it's not that we don't have a plan, it's that we're in the beginning stages. The build out has not even occurred yet. We're the licensing, this is because of what the state has done with the licensing process and because of the injunction and because of a lot of other things. Vic was supposed to be able to scope out a location and get approval for whether or not it was
2 years
compliant
ago.
before he invested in it. Now we're kind of going through a process. We don't know if the OCM is going to approve it. So that is why it's not that we don't want to be a part of the community. It's that we didn't even know until 2 weeks ago whether or not this was going to be a viable option from the state's perspective because of all the proximity protection issues and the licensing issues and lawsuits and whatnot.
And I've been here 35 years, and if anyone could help me do what you want done, it would be Dazed and I together working on what would please you guys and making sure we have a longevity in the 9th inning of Mulberry Street.
do we have any more questions from the committee?
Question about the staff. It says there'll be a manager, but how many staff members do you anticipate? Like, what's the maximum?
I would say 8 to 12 on this spot max.
So
In
once,
a space that might be like 300 feet?
Well, you have to have an
You have to have
employee in
shifts.
charge.
Yeah,
Yeah, you gotta have shifts.
Manager,
shifts,
staff for both shifts.
rotate shifts, so 8 to 12 total.
And if you do have to, if you can't use the basement because there's residential access, where are you gonna put your delivery staff?
They're not gonna, I just have delivery, they have a delivery plan on file in case they want to do it. I don't know
Delivery's
if they
done with the
want
ice
delivery.
cream truck concept. It wouldn't be actually coming out of the store. You can load a truck with $25,000 in product and
Where are
have
you gonna
6
park that truck?
That's us to worry about. So when we load this truck up, that's the delivery.
They're not commencing, so let's clarify. they are not opening their doors with delivery.
No.
Delivery is just an option that they have if going forward, this is all hypothetical.
Yeah, I don't even see
The
delivery.
delivery-
There's not enough
I
room.
want to
for
hear more about
product.
the truck. I know Union Square was in vans for a while. They're gonna put a truck, big old
It's
truck.
geolocated.
On a
No.
sidewalk somewhere.
No, that's
No,
not.
it's a
gonna work.
Sprinter, unmarked Sprinter.
No, this is a joke. This is a joke. This is a joke.
This is what Union
This is
Square
a- this
Travel
is a joke.
Agencies is doing.
It is what they were.
No, no, no.
Yeah,
So
it is.
While they were.
Union Square Travel Agency, not to be confused with Dazed Union
Dave
Square.
Valtrin over there.
They're not to
But
be
that's
confused.
also a different.
Totally different license.
Street's a different block.
They cheated too. They
No,
opened up,
so-
none of their
Oh,
packaging was in
oh, oh.
compliance.
I think we've gone down a rabbit
Yeah,
hole.
we're going down a rabbit hole. Are there any more questions from, community board members?
Mara, I have
Public?
one more question. Didn't,
Yeah.
I'm reminded by the Holyoke location, didn't we hear an application for another location around?
For days?
Was it from Days? It was somebody with a Holyoke.
Oh, no, that was Balagan.
Somebody else? Okay.
It was Balagan.
Got it.
Yeah. At 108 West 14th Street, which we denied. All right, last chance for questions, seeing none. So there are options here. Applicants can, you know, if they feel that they maybe need to do a little more research or a little more planning or need to move some things around, might want to withdraw and reapply. For me personally, unofficially, because we haven't voted, there are just too many questions and too many things up in the air and too many concerns about the suitability of the location and the lack of community outreach, that I could not in good conscience vote to approve this at this time.
The minute, you were talking about the municipal opinion.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is where I am right now. There's just not enough information or due diligence on the part of the applicant for me to, in good conscience, want to vote to approve. So you have options. Should we do an informal poll right now amongst the committee?
Sure.
If we were voting right now, this is not a vote, we were voting right now, I'm an A.
I'm a nay because of the community outreach. You guys did not, I mean, you didn't have, that's a big thing.
I would also be a nay, but also because of the business plan, I think that Carter was getting at, and the lack of view of what the store can actually, how it's gonna function in the space.
I think you have to do the community outreach, bring back an actual floor plan.
Okay.
Even a very
Yeah.
tentative one, can you use the basement? What space do you have?
I think the bare
Talk to your
minimum.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, talk to the neighbor, you guys, you know, we like.
No, we just don't want to lose. So while we're completing the application, that's all good with the license, from the licensing standpoint from the OCM. We just want to make sure that we're not losing proximity protection while we go through this process. So as long as that's not going to,
That is not up to us.
okay,
That is not up to us, that is up to the OCM. So right now, you know, if we were to vote right now, it would be a denial.
it would be
going to the
a
OCM.
negative. It would be an
And
unfavorable
there's a
municipal.
resolution, I mean, everything that's happened in this meeting is already a matter of public.
Of course.
So it's out there, the concerns. OCM is aware that we were hearing you tonight.
Mhm.
I don't know if they're gonna check in on this, but we did do our due diligence and check with them on some of the stuff that.
How
was
many other
there.
dispensaries in this community have received a negative municipal opinion that are now open in your jurisdiction?
Well, there was one,
Who's that?
Union Square Travel Agency.
Dave Valtrin.
Because the municipal
Paulie.
opinion is just an opinion. It's not an
That's
actual.
why. That's not why.
They got money.
But yes, it is It is an opinion. We are not
Then
a
we approve
enforcement
them.
mechanism.
But then we approved them. They got a deny unless, and then they didn't do
So can we do
the
that?
unless, and then they did do the unless. and
So can we do that?
Approval. There's no time because we have a finance, because of the 30 days, right? Union Square was our third dispensary. And
What do you mean 30 days?
that the 30 days,
What 30
They
days?
meet every 30 days.
the 30, 60 days that
Okay.
we have to give an opinion
Oh, okay,
to the state.
okay.
So we can't, we've already heard you,
Okay,
right, Mark? Like, we can't, there's no way we can elongate the meeting
okay.
or table. So your choices.
Because
right
when we
now-
talked on the phone, you said that this was forward-looking. Like, that's why I asked you when we talked whether or not we needed to do more due diligence coming to you. Because you said they're all forward-looking. When we talked on the phone a week ago.
What I said was.
I asked you whether or not we needed to do the build-out before we came to you. I asked you all of
And
those
I
questions.
said, I
Exactly, you
would
told me
not
no.
tell a friend to go ahead with a build out without municipal approval.
Okay, but I
We
I
can't
was
do a
saying.
build-out without a
I know
floor
that- I
plan.
know, but that's what I was
That's not
saying. Do we
fair.
need more
I would
plans?
not, I would not
We don't need to
tell
build.
somebody to spend
Yeah,
money.
I know that, but I was just saying, did we need more plans? Because I told
That's
you that we didn't have
contradictory.
anything. I told you that the floor plan didn't have anything on it because they haven't done the
Yeah,
build-out.
Denial for
I
not
know
having a floor plan, telling her
Okay,
that you
but
can't have a floor
I-
plan, that's not fair. That's not fair.
Right,
And we got, and you, that we spoke.
Then we should have
when I
time
was
to get a
in
floor plan.
Spain. So that was.
last week.
Third, the fourth,
No, I'm just curious. So
and then we got yeah, but
I know, but I wouldn't have asked that question if I didn't know that they didn't have anything. I knew that they didn't have anything. I knew that the floor plan didn't have anything on it. That's why I asked you whether or not we needed to go and do all those things before we came before you. So that was my only thing was.
And now our denial is
And
based
now-
on a
and
floor
now
plan
you're
and you
sa-
tell
now
her
you're
not to
saying that
bring?
We didn't have a.
I didn't
plan.
tell her not to bring it. I did not tell her not to bring it. We asked for it
I
in
asked
the
if they needed,
questionnaire.
they needed more
specifically for that
documentation
reason.
than what we were going to be able to
But you said
provide.
you would move
It is a
forward unless
mandatory
municipal.
question, and what was uploaded was literally a piece of paper that says placeholder.
Right, because
So what I said was I would not personally tell anybody to spend money on a build
Because I
out.
said we could
if
do
they
the
didn't
September
know they
meeting,
had approval.
'cause
That
we
is
have-
what I personally would not advise to a human being, to spend money on a build out that they are not guaranteed they're able to open. You were also offered the opportunity to come in September.
I know, and I told you
At that
it'd be
time,
better to
and
come in
you
September.
Said you wanted to do it in August. We
Yeah.
sent you, consequently, Florence in our office sent you an email saying, we'll see you in September. And you said, no, we want to come in August. I said, we're happy to accommodate you in August. You got the questionnaire, which you are very familiar with.
Okay, so we will
And
be
it asks-
withdrawing and submitting another notice to municipality tomorrow for another meeting. That is what we
Okay,
will
you,
do.
you can do it right now, actually.
Okay,
Let's do it now.
This
Let's-
very second.
let's
All right,
notify
now.
you right now.
Thanks, Chief.
You want me to
Deliver
print
it.
out for
Can we
you?
print? Yes.
All right. I don't know why I can't print, but I can do it from here. I mean, we just don't have enough information.
I know you don't, Maren. I apologize because I would have brought more information had I known that this was going to be so rigorous. We would have done our due
Everything we
diligence.
want
All our meetings are up
in the
online.
questionnaire, like we have.
I know, but y'all gotta understand, I work with hundreds of licensees all over the state. The OCM just told us 2 weeks ago that this one was approved. You know, my guys are not, we didn't even know whether or not the OCM was gonna let us locate this here for a long time. So that is why I apologize. But yes, now that we know, that is what we're going to do, and we will come back before you, and my apologies for being so deficient today.
Thanks, Kate.
You know, we also see a lot of people that don't have proximity protection, like people typically give notice the second they find a property.
I know.
That they like, whether they have a lease or not.
Exactly, but we did,
Because they want to
Right.
get the ball rolling. Then they go out and they do all of their due diligence, and then they're ready when they come. I mean, again, you can watch all of our meetings. There are people who come and they are set, like Dagmar, when Jennifer came, everything was done. When Roland came, everything was done. I mean, we've had really good luck, but, you know, I know there was a time crunch, but going forward, whether this space, if this space doesn't work out, you look at another space, I would just do it from day one before OCM even gives you, I mean, this is my personal advice, I'm not speaking for the board. But you know, it's a real estate game now.
Well, the problem is that OCM used to let you check your locations multiple at a time. Now it's one at a time. So that's the other issue. It's a nightmare, to be honest with you.
Oh,
Do you remember Hester Street Hobby Shop? The little hobby shop there?
So you're gonna withdraw
We're going to withdraw and re-notify you right now.
and re-notify us.
And come back in September.
Yes.
Mar, does that mean we move to business session?
If there's a withdrawal, do we need to even go into, there is no business session.
It's honestly up to the chair. You might want to do the following. You might want to have a protective disapproval in case the withdrawal doesn't happen or doesn't happen in time. So you have something on record, but that since it's only going to the executive committee, you don't have to send it into OCM until the deadline, which is September 16th in this application. So you could do that, put it in your pocket, and then if there is a withdrawal, there's nothing.
So how do I withdraw? I'll withdraw right now.
If I were you, I don't want to give advice.
Okay, so I should withdraw this. I'll send the same email that I sent to.
Maybe you want to notify before you withdraw.
I don't know. You tell me.
I can't.
I'm not the community board.
Notify.
What does that mean?
You're gonna, as I understand the conversation, you're gonna submit a new notice to municipality.
Yeah.
Okay, I might do that before I withdraw the other one. I don't know, it's up to you. No, okay,
Why does, it doesn't make a difference. It's still gonna have the same date.
you were concerned about proximity protection, that's my only problem.
Oh, new notice before we withdraw. Yes. Okay. Yeah, let's do the new notice first.
Okay,
Right, it's not, I don't know why I can't send it. I mean, Mark, I'm just emailing you something. Please print out for Kate.
Sure, I'll be right there. Great.
And G.
do you all have any other questions about what else would be helpful for us to see
Sure. Yeah.
next time?
Yes. Well, I mean, so it looks like community outreach to the neighbors, to the institutions in the area, schools, whatever.
San Gennaro, the Mulberry Street Block Association,
Okay.
every Chinatown CBO.
Okay. CBO, Community Business Organization. Okay. All right. So let me write this down.
Those are community-based organizations,
Okay.
and there are many in Chinatown. And I think a large portion of the residents of that building are Chinese, possibly speaking. So when you do your outreach, maybe take an interpreter.
Okay.
And the other thing, again, not that I think you need a contractor, but just to answer that question about the basement, like, is that open access? Is that something that can be used? Because again, just to get we do not need a stamped floor plan, of
Yes.
course, but just to have a sense of
By the
like
way.
our workable, our
Here's your
working.
floor plan,
space
here's your
is
space,
X.
here are
Would be
all the
helpful.
stats for your
Thanks, Mark.
space. You simply could have Googled them and you would have had them. Entire floor plan and stats for the space. Pages and pages.
Where's that?
They're online. It's on LoopNet.
Loop now. Oh,
Thanks, Mark.
Is there anything else that from the committee?
No. You know, in September, our tentative date is the 10th, September 10th.
There's a list of all your neighbors that you should probably talk to. Buonanotte, Capi Tres Leches, Casabella, it's all listed.
It's all on LoopNet?
If you go to, which is the other one, it lists all the schools, all the public transportation, your elected, like, these websites, these rental websites,
Okay.
tell you everything. They tell you the footfalls, they tell you what you need for your business.
Okay.
So that's like what, when you're going in somewhere to run a business, this is the golden information that tells you where you stand, who the stakeholders are,
Got it?
and the best way to be a benefit to the community. And the best way, it's just notification of municipality form.
Where do I look for that? Is it on the FCM website?
Yeah, just literally Google notification of municipality.
Want to help you.
Thank
We want to help you.
LoopNet, yeah, no, you can tell that
I
all
want
I
it to
do is
work.
read regulations, never even heard of
I mean-
LoopNet before. Okay.
And it's a lovely space. They built it out, it's cute. nearest subways and QR6.
I don't want any tables out front. I don't want to, I just want you guys to be happy, man, and everybody to be happy.
I mean, to be fair, it's like,
It's hard when you're happy.
you know, but the information is out there. Also check BizWeb, Acris, DOB now to get the stats on your buildings. While you're not landmarked, you are in a special district.
Little Italy, right?
And the people of Little Italy are very passionate about what happens on their blocks,
Yes.
as they have always been. Gotta respect the block,
Yeah.
you know?
Maybe
So-
figure out what type of meatballs you like.
Yes.
So, you know, we just,
Yeah.
and we'll be good.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
So
Thank you.
September, I'll see you guys.
You could be an investigative journalist tomorrow, I'll tell you that.
I like it.
Yes.
You have my number 3-way, right? With,
I do.
Chris on
All
it?
right, then you just have a brief business session, right?
Cool.
Yes.
All right,
All
well,
right, we're gonna go into business session now. You cannot participate, but you can stay and watch. You're welcome to stay.
I just got off the plane from through customs and came straight here. I'm done. Yes,
All right, have a great night.
It was a pleasure being
And
here.
do see Mark next door for that NPM.
Okay, so he's gonna have that to fill out?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
so Mar and Patricia and Anthony and Mark. Zach. Oh,
Close. Mark's
Mark is.
Mark is-
Mark has disappeared.
Anthony, Patricia, Mark and Zach. And Mark.
Pleasure meeting.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you, Mark.
Bye, Sean.
We're going into business session. You can leave or stay.
So you better not go anywhere.
I would stay, actually. I'm really done. I need sleep.
All right.
Ladies, I'll see you.
It's gonna be about 6 minutes long.
All right, business session starts.
Business session.
Business session.
Would you like to discuss?
Yes, what would you like to say?
Oh.
Zach, you wanted a business session.
I did want a business session because I actually just wanted to do what Mark advised, which was the
Summary.
conditional disapproval, just to bring to executive pending their withdrawal. You don't want to do
We're
that.
not doing a conditional disapproval. They withdraw and they reapply. This is where we get sticky and why we decided by email what our new resolution language would be. Oh, no, this is for Kate. Did you fill them out?
No, that's
I
great.
thought that
Kate,
No, 2 copies, one for them and one for us.
Kate, is she coming
That
back?
needs to be stamped.
Yeah, she's coming back.
Kate, you need to fill it out now.
no, she doesn't.
She doesn't?
She just needs to fill it out before she withdraws the other.
Yeah, we sent it, or she can run out through it. Which is why we had
Yeah.
that online conversation, because the OCM is not listening to stipulations. They are not listening to anything that does not say deny, approve.
Mm,
There is no in between.
mm.
And what will happen is we're gonna end up with bad actors. If we are not 100% confident and clear
Oh,
in the people that we approve. People can always reapply.
yeah.
If they haven't done the work, or if there are too many questions, or there are outstanding issues, which I think here, there's a mountain of outstanding issues.
Yeah.
We can't say we like them, but
Mm.
because that becomes something else. That street is so tiny.
Right. Okay. Do we just put in the note that applicant showed up and withdrew application and will return in September?
There's not even, it's just withdrawn.
Oh, okay.
Literally the word withdrawn.
Okay.
Which is good for them.
So that's what will go into our meetings for the executive board.
No. What's gonna happen
No, with the
is,
withdrawal, there's no, I mean, we're gonna do a report because there's actually a lot of cannabis stuff to report on, like new regs, new proposed regs. Just to update everybody on the amount of dispensaries that have been approved since last month. just happenings in cannabis, which we do periodically.
Mhm.
So we're gonna do one of those, and we can put a sentence in like applicant chose to withdraw,
Okay,
period.
makes sense.
And I think, what is it, Florence will put on the website withdrawn.
Yeah, she'll cross it
Tomorrow,
out,
she'll
it'll be
cross it
crossed out and say withdrawn.
And we have the recording saying, we have it on record, we're
Mm.
sent to the meeting.
And yeah, the other thing, sorry, that you just mentioned about the dispensaries open, that I would be curious about ones in CB2 that of course were approved a while ago, if we know the status on which of those have actually opened.
Oh, you know, it's not open, but about to open. Yeah, I can make a list.
Have they all opened? Is it just that,
If they haven't opened, we
I
will.
thought some of them, like in the last 6 months, they like hadn't done the build out yet, or the one in Chinatown that was supposed to be like the low dose.
Yeah, Vanessa,
also-
she's, I think, looking at October.
Mm.
She's doing her build out,
Mhm.
that's underway. Yeah, I mean, the people that we've approved are in good shape. Nobody's kind of said they're not gonna. You know. Oh, you know who didn't? Appleseed didn't because they lost their location
Oh,
at 22 Games Court.
Hmm.
388 Flowery didn't open, and I have been told that that is being shopped around. That location is being shopped around by the investors,
mm,
and the applicant that came with that one is maybe no longer be associated with that.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I know that that business is looking for different C applicants for that location, which we also determined that location is a limit.
mm,
It's very large.
mm.
They could for many, many decades for that reason. Yeah. You
Okay,
don't
cool.
see me inside of that place.
Just need to repurpose these phantom CVSs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that was it that I wanted.
Anthony?
Just community outreach.
Yeah,
Yeah, they need.
that's
to do-
important for us.
Mm.
And like just stand on the block for an hour one day is another idea.
And if you only have 2 weeks before presenting, they could have sent somebody out there with a bit more. I mean, hello.
Especially with all those restaurants, they're like, I should, would be happy to talk to them. Yeah. Mhm.
All right,
Yeah.
Okay.
all right, no more comments?
And we have a date in September, tentative date.
We have a date in September, we have one application coming in September, which is, why can't I remember?
Well, this one.
Yes.
That's one. And I can look.
Oh, it's on the email?
No, they withdrew. And then they also reapplied. Oh. Food truck, 10 Fifth Avenue.
Oh, no, they're coming back? Oh, God. All right.
Take pictures.
Do you have their application already?
I have the one that they submitted and withdrew, which means we have to wait for the new one.
Oh, okay.
I actually did ask, do you want to just let that one ride? I'm happy, we're happy to just accept the old one, but we need it in writing and they have not responded. So they may want to put in a whole new questionnaire,
Mm.
which may have new information. They're aware of the opposition, the tremendous opposition from the community.
Yeah.
The news articles, letters, hundreds of letters.
Yeah. And they still want to come.
But they reapplied, so we will possibly see them in September.
How is there a retail space at 10 Fifth Avenue? Isn't that just north of
What was it?
Washington Square Park? Oh, I can imagine why there would be a lot of opposition to that. Uh-huh.
And it's primarily the entirety of 11th Avenue right across the way. And there's also a school on the corner, like a nursery school,
Mm,
like right there.
mm,
And another one, there are two. I didn't even know there were two, there were two. And the building, I don't know if you remember this building that they were doing work on the building next door, and this building like cracks.
Oh, God.
Like, it's a whole thing over there. It's a whole thing over there. it had to be evacuated.
Oh my God.
It's full thing over there. It's been scaffolding up for a really long time.
Hmm,
But we'll
okay.
see.
Okay.
Maybe it's an exciting, we will have a full house if they do.
Oh, really?
Choose to show,
And it would be here,
Doing it here?
we're gonna have to do it.
but then we would have to cap it at a certain number.
We would have to do it somewhere else. There is not enough room in this office. We had
Are you serious?
like 60 RSVPs for that
Wow.
one, and that is not even counting all the testimony we received by email, by form.
Yeah, big opposition.
Maybe they work through the community engagement.
We'll see.
Okay, well,
All right.
Thank you.
see you all in, do we close the meeting?
Oh, you're, okay.
Thank you. Wait 1 second, Kate. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second,
Can't
Okay,
you
thank
see this done?
good night.
Will you turn it off?
There's a mouse
All right, I'll turn it off.
somewhere.
Wait, Kate?
Is it on the floor?